Today we're going to go over how to get started with Collective Access. This is an open source software that is being actively developed, so if you haven't used the database in a few years, it may look a little bit different. At ANSM, we keep an updated manual for the database in both English and French on our website, and I'll link that in the description down below. As you probably already know, we use Collective Access because it's extremely adaptable and it allows us to upload records to novamuse.ca, which is a publicly accessible site that allows the public to access collections from museums across the province. Novamuse is a great way for contributors to share their collections online, regardless of geographical location, physical space, or hours of operation. Collective Access is a web-based system, meaning that your database can be accessed from any device connected to the internet through browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or Edge. Multiple people can work in the database at the same time from different computers on different accounts. Your database URL is hidden, so it won't come up in search engine results or otherwise be accessible to the public. Therefore, you must have the direct URL and user account details to access the database. We recommend saving the URL to your database in your bookmarks bar on your web browser. Let's get started. Type in your username and password details. These should be unique for each user at your museum. If you need a new login for a volunteer, summer student, or new employee, please contact ANSM and we can set one up for you. There are different levels of access available. For example, a student level account only permits the user to edit basic information, whereas a cataloger level account provides the user with more permissions and options for editing. Now that I've inputted my unique username and password, I'll click Login. This page is the dashboard. You can always navigate back to this page by clicking on the Collective Access logo. If this is your first time logging in, you may want to set up widgets on your dashboard. You can edit your dashboard by clicking on Edit Dashboard on the top right corner of your page. Then click Add Widget. Now I can scroll through the drop-down options. You may decide to add widgets like Recent Logins, which will show you who's been using the database and when. I'm going to add a few more widgets to my dashboard. I can move my widgets around by clicking and dragging. I can edit a widget by clicking the I button, making my changes, and then clicking Save. Or I can delete a widget by clicking the X. Once I'm happy with my dashboard, I can click Done. Or if I want to delete all of my widgets, I can click Clear Dashboard to clear my dashboard. But I'm just going to click Done. Let's take a look at the rest of the dashboard. At the top right of the screen, you'll see 5 buttons and a search bar. This is called the Global Navigation Bar. This is the main tool for interacting with the database. It contains 5 menu clusters: New, Find, Manage, Help, History, and the Quick Search Bar. Each of the 5 menus expands when the cursor is held over them, revealing more options. The search bar allows you to do a quick search by using accession numbers or keywords. It will search all primary types of records in the database: objects, entities, occurrences, collections, storage locations, and loans. History provides a list of recently edited or viewed records. So if this is your first time using the database, you might not see this option as you haven't formed any history here yet. Help allows you to view frequently asked questions or FAQs, a list of helpful resources, and how to contact ANSM for support. Manage allows you to control the way you use Collective Access, from user preferences to organizing how your information is displayed. These options do not relate directly to your collection, but rather how your database is administered. These are impacted by user level. Find contains options for finding records, including basic search, advanced search, or browse. And then New contains options for creating new records. Use these options to create new object records, representations, entities, collections, condition and treatment reports, historic events, storage locations, and loans. Finally, at the bottom of the screen, you'll also find Preferences, which allows you to edit user preferences, and of course the Logout button. Let's learn how to find records. The easiest way to search for a record is to use the search bar in the top right corner of the Global Navigation Bar. Here, I can input keywords, object names, or accession numbers. Records can also be found using the Find menu. Selecting the type of record you're looking for, let's say representations, and then the kind of search you're looking for. We've got basic search, advanced search, and browse. Let's start by finding objects with a basic search. I'll go to Find, Objects, Basic Search. At the top of this page is our search bar. We can enter keywords or accession numbers here. If we want to search for the entire collection, we can input an asterisk. Now I have the entire collection to search through. This is a little too much, so I'm going to narrow things down. Maybe I want to search for items that were accessioned in the year 2025. I can type in 2025 dot asterisk. And this will show me everything that was accessioned in 2025. Perfect. This can also be used if you found an object in your collection in real life and the label is difficult to read. Let's say, for example, the accession year is 2024. You can't read the lot number, but the item number is 1. I can look for this in the database using an asterisk. I'll type in 2024 dot asterisk dot 1. And there's my object. If I want to save this search, I can just click the Save button right here under the search bar. And then to use this saved search, I can go to the left side of the screen, under Saved Searches, click on the drop-down menu to the search that I just saved, and then click the arrow beside it. And this will bring up those results again. You can also use an advanced search. I can access an advanced search on this page by clicking Advanced Search here on the left side of the page, but let's go back to the dashboard. To do an advanced search, I'll go to Find, Objects, Advanced Search. Here you can input each of the fields you need to find a particular object. If I want to save this search, I'll have to type into this bar here what I want the saved search to be, and then click this arrow here. You should receive a pop-up that says that your search term was saved. The last search option is Browse. I'll go to Find, Objects, Browse. Browse allows you to browse through all of the records of a particular type. So that could be object, collection, entity, etc. And narrow your search using filters. Filters are related to fields that appear on the record. All record types allow you to browse with the filters Types, Statuses, and Access Statuses, while object records can be browsed with many more filters. If I want to export my search results, I'll first have to complete a search. I want to export this list of objects. I'll go to Display Options. Here I can change how many objects are displayed per page, how I'd like the page to be sorted by, as well as my display type. To save changes, I'll click this arrow right here. And then to export, I'll go to Export Tools. Let's say I want to export as a spreadsheet, so I'll click on this drop-down menu, select Spreadsheet, and then click this arrow here to export to my computer. And then I'll click this minus button to close this window. Now my results have been exported, and I can find them in the Downloads folder on my computer. Let's take a look at an object record. To create an object record, go to New, Object, Artifact. This will open a new record. Or, to find an object, you can use the search bar, basic search, or advanced search. For this video, we'll be looking at an existing record. We are looking at the basic info screen, which opens when you first click on a record. There are a number of fields to fill out here, and while some are pretty self-explanatory, there are little buttons with an eye on them that explain what to put in the field and what to avoid. Following these directions will make sure the record is easy to find and read in the future. For example, here is the accession number field. When I click on the I button, it will show me how to format an accession number and what to avoid. There are also drop-down menus to fill out, such as this one here for access. It's important to remember to select Accessible to Public if you'd like the record to show up on Novamuse. Note that sensitive information like donor information will not be shared publicly when inputted correctly. A full list of fields that do and do not appear publicly is available in the manual linked below. This basic info screen is going to have some of the highest priority information to fill out, so please take the time to fill out these fields as best as you can. In the top left-hand corner is the inspector window. When creating new records, this will only appear after the record is saved. At the top is our results, which shows our search results, and we can click through these with the arrows on either side. And then underneath is our identifying information. It will show us the name, object type, and accession number. If there's media attached to the record, which we recommend to include if you can, a thumbnail image will appear here too. If there are multiple images, like there are in this record here, we can click the arrows on either side to click through all of the thumbnails. Under the thumbnail, there are 4 icons. This first icon, shaped like an eye, is Watch or Unwatch this record. Toggling this will add or remove the selected object from your watch list, which can be accessed by selecting Manage, My Watched Items, or viewed by using the Your Watched Items widget on your dashboard. This icon turns red when the record is on your watch list. The second icon is Change Type. This allows you to change the record type from artifact to archival item or artifact/archival item hybrid. Select the type from the drop-down menu and click Save. In general, artifacts are 3-dimensional objects, while archival materials are 2-dimensional or digital objects, for example, documents or records. Hybrid objects are those which have aspects of both an artifact and an archival item. For example, a Bible that contains handwritten information or an exercise book containing entries and photographs. Please note that since not all fields are available in each record type, you need to ensure that all information is copied elsewhere to be transferred to new fields after the type has been changed before saving. The third icon is to create a child record under this one. That allows you to add a new record that connects to the current or primary record through a hierarchical order. We'll go over this a bit more later. The last icon is the See More Information button. Selecting this will collapse the window underneath that displays when the record was created and when it was last changed and by whom. Before we navigate to another screen, make sure to click Save if any new information has been added or changes have been made. There's a Save button at the top of the screen as well as at the bottom, and you can select either of these. There is also a Delete button at both the top and bottom. There are very few instances where you should choose to delete a record, since your museum should be keeping track of object records even after deaccessioning. Remember that you may need to access information in Collective Access in case anything should happen to your physical documents. Let's take a look at other screens. If we take a look to the left side of the screen, we can find the local navigation bar. Let's click on the next screen. This is the Enriched page. Here is some more in-depth information about the object. Here you can add information like Made in Nova Scotia. This allows the user to link the record to a Nova Scotian manufacturer, artisan, or maker if they are listed in ANSM's separate database. Click Add Manufacturer, and then type the name of a person or organization into the field to see if a result appears below. If no result appears, contact ANSM to add the manufacturer, artisan, or maker to the Made in Nova Scotia database. You can also input what culture an object is from. If this is one of the 4 founding cultures of Nova Scotia, that is, Acadian, African Nova Scotian, Gaelic, or Mi'kmaq, these will come up as search filters in Novamuse. This is not a drop-down menu, so you can include cultures from outside of Nova Scotia, but since it's not a drop-down, make sure to double-check your spelling. Some of the fields on this page may not be applicable for every object, so make sure to read through each field. For example, it would be useful information to include what military unit a uniform is from, but that might not be useful for objects that aren't military. Once again, if any changes have been made or information is added, make sure to click Save before navigating off this screen. Let's take a look at some of the other screens in the local navigation bar. This is the administrative screen. This screen contains fields for internal use. This is where information like acquisition details live. You'll fill this out the same way that you did on the basic info and enrich screens. We'll take a look at media and condition reports later. The other screens available on an object record include alternate names, relationships, georeferencing, web links, and summary. For detailed descriptions of how to use these fields, see the CollectiveAccess Manual linked below. We're just going to take a quick look at georeferencing for now. This feature allows you to tag precise geographical locations associated with an object on a Google Maps interface and identify how the location is related to the object. To add a georeference, search for the location using the search bar in the top right corner of the georeference field. Searches can be specific, such as street addresses or business names, or they can be for a broader area like a whole province, country, or town. If necessary, zoom in and out of the map by using your mouse's scroll or by clicking the plus and minus buttons in the top left corner of the map. When you're ready to tag your location, click the Draw a Marker button at the bottom of the menu. Click the location on the map you wish to tag. Be as precise as possible. GPS coordinates for the location will appear in the row below the map. Select georeference type from the drop-down menu below the map, depending on how the location is related to the object. For example, if the object depicts the location, if it references the location, or maybe it was made at that location or used there. Once you are done, click Save. Let's take a closer look at the media screen in an object record. The media screen allows images, audio, video, and/or documents to be added to a record. Multiple files may be attached. Each file can be a maximum of 1.95 gigabytes. Almost all file types can be uploaded. We're going to start by clicking on the media screen and then clicking Upload Media. Navigate to the location on your computer of the file you wish to upload. Select the file, then click Open. The database will resize photos for you at various sizes. Therefore, it's a good idea to use the highest quality of image that you have. As the media uploads, we may get this spinning circle with a percentage of complete status under Upload Media while the file is uploading. Wait until the file reaches 100% and the text changes to one selected before saving. To set the media to be visible on Novamuse, select Accessible to Public from the Access drop-down menu. Note that if the object is on loan, do not make the media accessible to public. Make sure to review the media/record for any copyright or privacy restrictions before setting it to accessible to public. If the museum deems that the material is sensitive, staff are advised to make an internal decision whether or not to set the media to accessible to public. You can always come back to edit the access of media representations at any time by clicking Edit on the media representation. If the media has text, for example on a postcard, you may choose to make the media appear on Novamuse's transcribe page so the public can help transcribe text from an image. To do this, select Yes from the Transcribe drop-down menu. This setting can later be changed by clicking Edit on the media representation. To add an additional media file, click Add Representation and repeat the same process as we did before. To remove a media file, click the small X beside the media representation. Make sure to click Save. Depending on the size of the file and internet speed, images being processed may appear where the media thumbnail will show once the upload is complete. You can leave this page and continue with other work while this is processing. To view media on CollectiveAccess, click on the image thumbnail to open the media viewer, which allows you to zoom in, pan across the image, and download it in a range of sizes. Close the media viewer by pressing the Escape key or by clicking X or Close in the top right corner. You can also add media directly from a mobile device such as a smartphone or tablet. Begin by logging into CollectiveAccess on your mobile device, access the record in which you are going to add the media to, click Upload Media, and a pop-up will appear that allows you to select Photo Library, Take a Photo, or Choose File. Photo Library option allows you to select an image or video from your device's library. Take a Photo opens your camera app to allow you to take a photo, which will automatically upload to CollectiveAccess. Choose File allows you to select a file or document from your device's library. Once you are done, click Save. When uploading audio and/or video files, an Annotations button will appear on the media representation when the upload is complete. Use this function to highlight specific clips in the recording. For example, if the media is an oral history, you can identify what the interviewee is speaking about in different sections of the recording. To add annotations, click Annotations in the right menu of the media representation. This will open a new window where you can play the file and set annotations in tandem. Play the recording and click plus to start at the beginning of the section you want to capture. Click plus end to stop capturing. This will pause the recording. Add details to the annotation before continuing, including a title, adjusting the start and end times, and/or the accessibility of the annotation. For example, accessible or not accessible to public. Click Save Annotation to finish, and your annotation will appear at the top of the page. Click the X to delete an annotation, and then click X Close to exit the annotation screen. When uploading audio or video files, a caption or subtitle file will automatically generate and be attached to the media's full record. Captions may take some time to generate depending on the size of the media file and internet speed. To view the status of caption/subtitle generation, use the Processing Status widget on your dashboard. Navigate back to the media representation's full record to view the caption/subtitles field and download the newly generated text file. The caption/subtitle file will appear as English CA and size of the file, with a download button. The language in the label will be different if the caption generator detects a language other than English being spoken in the audio, for example, Canadian French. Download the file to read the caption/subtitles. The file will be downloaded in a .vtt format. It is recommended to open the file in WordPad if using a PC to be able to make edits to the text if necessary and save the file in the same format. .vtt can be opened for viewing in other word processors, but may not be able to be saved in the same format. Note that it is strongly recommended that all captions and subtitles are reviewed and edited if necessary before setting the media to accessible to public. This is to avoid publishing incorrect quotes and/or information to Novonews. Make sure to look for misspellings in all text, especially the names of people and/or places. You'll also want to check that the language of the text is correct, that all lines and words are included, so making sure that the text did not skip parts of the audio. Make sure that the timestamps are correct, as well as punctuation and spacing. If the audio includes music or singing, check if the text is repeating the same line that was spoken prior to or after the music or singing, if that's applicable. Certain factors in the audio may cause errors in the subtitles. These can include accents, dialects, or enunciations of words, mumbling, disfluencies, quiet speaking, or multiple people speaking all at once. You'll also find this if more than one language is spoken in the same audio file, if there's a lot of background noise or static, as well as transitions between music, singing, and speech. To upload a new or edited caption/subtitle file, delete the automatically generated file by clicking the X button on the right-hand side of the captions field. Then click Add Caption File to add the new or edited file. For extra help and information on writing and editing captions, check out the list of resources in the CollectiveAccess Manual linked below. Let's take a closer look at the condition and treatment screen of an object record. Condition reports, treatment reports, and treatment proposals all contain the same fields. For the purposes of this example, we'll use a condition report. First, navigate to the object record you'd like to add a condition report to. Then, click on the Condition and Treatment screen. To add a new condition report, click Add Condition Report. Once the Quick Add screen opens, add a short description of the condition report. For reference, use the condition report and glossary template on ANSM's website. This is linked in our CollectiveAccess Manual as well. I'm just going to type in examination for now. The next field allows you to indicate who completed the condition report. Type in the name of the person that completed the examination or condition report into the examiner's field. If an entity record for the person already exists, their name will appear in the drop-down menu. Then just select their name. If an entity record for the person does not exist, the message "No match is found for the name you've input" will appear in the drop-down menu. You will need to first complete an entity record for that examiner before completing the condition report. For the sake of this example, I'm just going to type in the name Emma, and we'll pretend that Emma Gascoigne completed this condition report. If I'd like to add an additional examiner, I can click the Add Examiner button, and then complete the same steps as before. The next step is to give the object a condition rating from the drop-down menu. These can range from excellent to very poor. Then type in the date that the object was examined in the examination date field. You can type this in manually or select the calendar icon and click on the date. If there are any condition documentation files or images you'd like to add, you can use this next section here to complete that information. You can select Choose File, which will open up your file browser on your computer, and then upload those files directly into CollectiveAccess. You can indicate when that file was created and any additional notes you have. To add any more condition documentation, you can select Add Condition Documentation and complete the same steps as before. The Objects Examined field will auto-populate with the accession number of the object you've just created a condition report for once that you've clicked Save. If other objects were examined on the same condition report, type in their accession numbers here. Once that you are done, click the Add Condition Report button at the top right of the Quick Add screen. Then you'll click Save, and you're all done. Let's take a look at creating child records. You may wish to create child records to connect certain records to a larger parent record. This could be useful if, for example, you have a photograph album and you'd like to create records for each of the photographs as well. The album itself will be the parent record, and then the photographs will be the child records. We're going to begin by working from the primary or parent record. Once that you've opened this record, go to the left side of the screen in the inspector window and click on the Create Child Record icon. This looks like a stick figure. Clicking this button will open the Create Child Record under this object pop-up screen. From the drop-down menu, select if the child record is an artifact, archival, or hybrid record. Then click Save. The basic info screen for the new child record will open. Be sure to edit the accession number to reflect the accession number of the child record. That is, add your part numbers here, whether that's letters or numbers, whatever system your museum uses. Complete as many fields as possible, and then click Save. Repeat these steps as necessary to add additional records under the primary record. Another way to add a child record is from the Location in Hierarchy field. First, we're going to navigate back to the primary or parent record. I can do this by going to the inspector window and clicking on that record right here. From here, I'll navigate to the administrative screen. In the Location in Hierarchy field, click Show Hierarchy. Then, click Add. Select the record type, Artifact Archival Item, or Artifact/Archival Item Hybrid from the first drop-down menu. Select the hierarchical location under Child or above Parent of the new record from the second drop-down menu. Click the plus sign to add the new record. A blank record will open to the basic info screen. Complete as many fields as possible, then click Save at the top or bottom of the screen. If you'd like to change a record type to a child record, first navigate to that record and then the administrative screen. In the Location in Hierarchy field, click Show Hierarchy. Then select Move. Use the Find field to search for the primary or parent record by accession number. Click the primary record from the search results. A note saying will be moved under, then the name of the primary record, after next save will appear in red text. Click Save to complete the move. Repeat these steps as necessary to add additional records under the primary record. If you'd like to remove a child record, from that record, navigate to the administrative screen, then select Location in Hierarchy, Show Hierarchy, Move, and then click the scissors icon on that record's name. You should get a pop-up that says will be placed at the top of its own hierarchy after next save. Then click Save at the top or bottom of the screen. And this has removed this child record from the parent-child hierarchy. Let's take a look at some of the other kinds of records you can create in CollectiveAccess. We'll start with entities. Entities are families, individuals, or organizations associated with objects in your collection. They can be related to objects as authors, catalogers, collectors, conservators, original owners, or many more. Entities can be added by going up in the global navigation bar to New, Entity, and then selecting Family, Individual, or Organization. You can also add entities by typing in a name into a field on the Relationships tab of a record and using the Quick Add screen. Entities can later be accessed by clicking their hyperlinks or selecting an option under Find, Entity. When adding new entities, do not enter multiple names. So for example, you wouldn't add Mr. and Mrs. Jones on the same record. Each individual should have their own record, and then the records can be linked using the Relationships tab. Let's just take a look at this new entity record that I've created here. This is for an individual. The screens on entity records are all going to be the same. You'll have basic info, alternate names, contact info, relationships, links, summary, and then once that I've saved this new record, I'll also have the log screen. Filling out an entity record is very easy. For an individual, you'll have slightly different fields than for an organization. For example, here I'll have the sex and nationality of an individual, whereas if I go over to an organization, I'll have brand names as well as the dates that the organization was founded, incorporated, and liquidated. You're going to fill these out to the best of your abilities. For example, you might not know the exact dates of an individual's lifetime, but you can input information such as after 1960. Once you're done filling out these fields, you'll click Save, and then you can fill in the other screens. For example, I might want to click Save and then add an alternate name if I want to include the maiden name of an individual. For more information on how to fill out these fields and these screens, visit the CollectiveAccess Manual linked below. Now let's take a look at collection records. There are two types of collection records available, archival and administrative. These records can be created to group together objects that arrived at the museum as a collection, for example, archival collections. Or they can be grouped for a museum administrative purpose, for example, a working or teaching collection. Collections can be added by selecting New, Collection under the global navigation bar, or by typing into the Related Collections field on the Relationships tab of a record and using the Quick Add screen. Select either Administrative Collection or Archival Collection. A blank collection record will open. Right now we're looking at a new administrative collection. The screens on both types of collections will remain the same. You'll have basic info, alternate names, and relationships. For comparison, here is an archival collection, and here is an administrative collection. Another type of record you may encounter is a historic event record. There is only one type of historic event record. To create a new historic event, go to New Historic Event, and that will open a new historic event record. The screens will remain the same: basic info, alternate names, relationships, keywords, links, summary, and then once that you've saved this historic event record, you'll have a log screen. To fill out the basic info screen, you'll start with title, and this is where you'll assign a title to the event. For example, you might want to create a historic event record for the Halifax explosion, so you type in Halifax explosion here. Under identifier, you'll assign a unique identifier that is an alphanumeric code. Then for the description, you're going to provide a brief description of the event. Status, you'll select the completion status of the record from the drop-down menu. So for example, I can select completed, editing complete, editing in progress, new, or review in progress. And then finally, I'll select the access from the drop-down menu. So I'm going to select accessible to public. Once that I'm done with this record, I'll click Save to save the new record. Let's take a look at the Manage section of the global navigation bar. CollectiveAccess has a number of options which are not related directly to cataloging and recording information about your collection. Instead, they deal with working in the system itself, grouping objects into working sets, and setting preferences for how you'd like the system to operate. Let's begin by looking at My Preferences. We'll go to Manage, My Preferences. We're looking at the General screen. Here you'll find the primary preferences you may consider to customize. There's a lot we can customize here, and this is all included in the CollectiveAccess Manual linked below. I'm just going to go over some of the most useful menus you may choose to customize. Let's begin at the top. Here we have the user interface locale. This allows me to change the interface of CollectiveAccess into another language. Right now it's set to Canadian English, but if I select this drop-down menu and select Canadian French, then click Save, you'll notice that all of the menus have changed to French, even in the global navigation bar. For the sake of this video, let's continue with Canadian English. Another menu you may want to customize is the Show Current Location as Breadcrumb Trail. If I select Yes, and then click Save, you'll see at the top, the path of menu options taken to reach the current screen will be displayed. So we know that I had to click Manage My Preferences to get to this general screen. This is especially useful when you're first getting started with the database. Let's take a look at some of these other screens. Let's click on Editing. Here you'll find the default cataloging locale. This allows you to set the default language when entering data in certain fields. So for example, if it's set to French, all fields where you have the option to change the language from English to French will automatically be set to French. If we click on the Units of Measurement screen, we can change the display of units of measurement entered into the database. Right now, our preferred display currency is set to Canadian dollars, but by selecting the drop-down menu, we can change this to any other currency. Display measurements in is set to units as entered. So right now, if I were to write in an object record that a flag is 13 inches tall, it would display as inches because that's what I've entered. However, if I were to change this to metric units, this would automatically convert those inches into centimeters. This is also true if I did it the other way around. So if I inputted measurements in centimeters, the database would automatically change those into inches if I've selected imperial units. Remember to click Save with whatever preferences you've chosen. If we go to the Inventory screen, we can select which fields should be preset when recording inventories. Values will be copied from the nearest previously inventoried item. If we click on the Search Builder, then we can drag and drop our preferred options to include in the frequently used list of the Search Builder for each of the record types. So for example, if I go to Objects, I might want to choose something from the available options list and drag it into the frequently used list. Let's say, for example, accession date. I can just click and drag. Remember to click Save with your preferred options. As we learned when looking at object records, My Watched Items can be managed from the Manage tab as well. We'll go to Manage, My Watched Items. Here we can view and delete items from the Watched Items list. Items are added to the Watched Items list by clicking on the eye icon in the Records Inspector window. Also under the Manage tab, you'll find My Project Teams. This allows you to create access-restricted projects for users of your database. These teams can collaborate on displays, searches, and sets. Let's take a look at a very useful feature, My Displays. Go to Manage, My Displays. Displays can be used to view search results in different ways. Each display contains data from different fields of records, allowing you to generate detailed and customized reports. There's a number of pre-configured displays. Let's take a look at these by doing a search. If I click on the gear while doing a search, it'll show me my display options. There's a number of pre-configured displays here. If I click on the Display drop-down menu, I'll be able to see these pre-configured displays. I'll have access to Full Report, Artifact and Archival, Short Report, Location Report, Condition Report, Research Report, and Entity Report. You may choose to use these different displays for a number of different reasons. Let's take a look at the short report. If I select the short report from the drop-down menu and then click this arrow, that'll change my display to be the short report. Now only certain information included in that display is shown in my search results. For more information on these pre-configured displays, check out the CollectiveAccess Manual. If I'd like to create my own display, I can go to Manage, My Displays, and then from the New Display For drop-down menu, I can select Collections, Entities, List Items, Loans, Object Representations, Objects, Occurrences, Representation Annotations, and Storage Locations. I'm going to choose Objects, and then click Plus. This has created a new display. I can give this display a name, assign an alphanumeric code in the display code field. If you'd like other database users to be able to use your display, you can assign access by clicking Add Group Access and then typing catalogers or students. and then you can toggle their permissions. Perhaps you'd like them to edit, only read, or have no access. Then you can click Save, then navigate to the Display List screen. Here you can click and drag the available information into the information to display. Let's say for this example, I just want to see an object's description and media representation. I'll choose those options, click and drag them into the information to display side of the screen, and then click Save. The order in which you drop the field names is the order in which they'll appear when using the display. You can rearrange the order of the fields by clicking and dragging them around inside the column. Remember to click Save if you make any more changes. To see this new display at work, I'm going to go to Find, Objects, Basic Search, and change my display option to my display. Click the arrow, and there you have it. I have my description and media representation only. Another option under the Manage menu is Sets. Sets are informal and not intended for collections level groupings. Sets are created for practical or administrative purposes rather than representing a formal grouping within your collection. You may choose to create a set to group together records for a potential exhibit or other kind of project. You can also customize the access for sets so that only certain members of your organization can access these, as well as the permissions such as the ability to edit or view the set. To create a set, go to Manage, My Sets, All Sets. From the Create New drop-down menu, select User Set. From the Containing drop-down menu, select the type of record to include in the set. I can choose collections, entities, list items, loans, or any other kind of record. I'm going to go with objects for now, and then click the plus button. We're going to assign a name in the set title field, and then I'll need to assign an alphanumeric code. You can describe the set in the introduction field. You can also choose if you'd like this set to be accessible to public. If you choose accessible to public, this will be shown on the Featured Galleries page of NovaMuse. In that case, the information you've input into the introduction field will display as the introduction to this new gallery on your NovaMuse page. If you'd like other users in the database to be able to use your set, assign access by clicking Add Group Access, and then typing either catalogers or students, and then choose from the drop-down menu either Has No Access, Can Read, or Can Edit. You can also choose a period of time for which that person has access to your set. Once you're done, click Save. Next, let's navigate to the Items screen. On this screen, you'll see a field that says Add Object. Here you can enter an accession number or name of an object if the set was created for objects, and then select the desired object to add to the set from the drop-down menu. Continue adding as many objects as desired by repeating this step. Remember to click Save. You can also add to a set from search results. Conduct a search to find the initial records to add to your set. On the left side of your screen, click Set, and then use these fields to create a new set. I can add everything in these search results, add random, or add checked. If I select Add Checked, I will need to check off the records I'd like to add to this set, and then add to either the set that we just created, or I can click Create Set and add a new set name to create a new set. I'll leave it with our example set that we just created, and then click Save.
Today I'm going to show you how to use the inventory tool in CollectiveAccess. There are 3 different ways to create an inventory. Your inventory can be created at random, or it can be customized. To create a randomized inventory, go to Manage, Inventories. Click on the plus button to the right of Create New Inventory Containing Objects. This will open up the basic info page. Assign an inventory title to the inventory. An inventory code will automatically generate upon saving. Write a description of the inventory in the description field. If you would like other database users to be able to view and edit the inventory you're creating, assign group access. Click Add Group Access. Type Inventory into the group field, then select it from the drop-down menu. Select Can Edit from the drop-down menu on the right. If you would like to assign a date range to this permission, type a date into the date block. Leaving this blank will allow for unlimited access. In order for other users to view inventories they did not create themselves, their accounts must be assigned to the inventory group by ANSM staff. Please contact ANSM with the names of the users you'd like to be able to use inventories. Once you've completed all of these fields, click Save. To add objects to the inventory, click the crossing arrows icon in the inspector window on the left-hand side of the page. The Add Random to Inventory pop-up window will appear. The default number of objects that will appear in the inventory is 100. You can change this by erasing 100 and typing in the desired number of objects to inventory. We recommend using only a maximum of a couple hundred objects, as the inventory is designed to work for small numbers of objects at a time. Click the plus add button. The inspector window will automatically refresh to reflect the change in the count of objects added to the inventory. You can add more random objects if necessary by repeating the previous steps. Note that this will add to the total count of objects, not replace the existing ones in the inventory list. To create a customized inventory, go to Find, Objects, Browse. Browse the filters to select which objects you want to include in your inventory. There are many options, and this is highly customizable. For example, if you want to create an inventory for a specific location in the museum, use the Storage Locations filter. Browse the hierarchy until you find the location you'd like to inventory. Then, select that location. You can add more filters if you'd like. For example, if I want to inventory only objects that are accessible to public, I would also select the access statuses and accessible to public filter. Once the desired filters are selected, click the Inventory button in the top left of the screen. From the Add to Inventory options, select either Add All, Add Checked, or Add Random from the drop-down menu. This may depend on the number of objects in your search results. If there are hundreds or thousands of objects, you may want to select a smaller number to add to the inventory. For example, I currently have 502 objects in my results. I'm going to select Add Random. Then I'm going to limit my inventory results to 100 of those objects. From the second drop-down menu, select an existing inventory name if you have already created one, or click Create Inventory under the drop-down menu. Enter the name of the new inventory into the field. Keep the Exclude Inventoried option checked to exclude objects that have been recently inventoried, which means within the past 2 years. Click Save. A pop-up will appear to tell you how many objects were added to the inventory and how many were excluded due to having been previously inventoried if applicable. Access the new inventory by going to Manage, Inventories. Then select the inventory from the list by clicking the paper icon to the right of the inventory. The third way of creating an inventory is directly from an object record. Access the record of an object you wish to include in an inventory, then go to the Administrative page. Scroll down to the Inventory History field. Begin typing the name of the new inventory into the blank field. Click Create from the drop-down menu that appears. This will open the Quick Add Inventory screen. Fill in the details. Then click the plus Add Inventory button at the top of the page. Click Save on the record. Scroll down again to the Inventory History field. From here, you can access this new inventory by clicking on the link to Inventory. You can also edit the relationship an object has to its inventory by clicking the paperclip icon. Select the date that the object was inventoried. Select if it was found or not found. Type in who completed the inventory and enter any notes if applicable. Then click Save. Click Save on the object record. To access the list of objects to inventory, click the Inventory page. Use the Sort drop-down menu to sort the list by accession number, title, or date. Use the Filter search bar to type in a keyword to search for objects from within the inventory list. You can also add more specific objects to this list through this Add to Inventory bar. Type in the accession number of the object you wish to add. Then select it from the drop-down menu. Click Save to refresh your list. From here, you can carry your laptop or other mobile device through the museum as you try to locate the objects in the list. Click the question mark button beside an object to open its inventory options. Select if the object was found or not found from the drop-down menu. In the Date field, click the date that the object was inventoried. Enter the name of the person who conducted the search for the object in the Inventoried By field. Select their name from the drop-down menu. If no name appears, click Create and fill in the Quick Add Entity screen to create a new entity record for that person. Enter any additional important or useful information in the Notes field. Then click Done. After making any changes to an object's inventory information, an Unsaved Changes alert will appear in the top right of the inventory list. This is to remind you to save the page before you leave. The list number will also highlight in red to show you which records have unsaved changes. The header in the Inventory Contents field will also update once objects have been inventoried so that the number of found and not checked objects will reflect changes made. Click on any of these terms to filter the content list to show you a selection of objects. Click All to return to the full inventory list. To edit an object from an inventory list, click the title of the object. This will open the object record from within the inventory list. This allows you to make any changes to the record as you normally would in order to address any problems and update or fill in fields as needed. Once changes have been made, you can either click Save to save your changes and stay on the object record, or click Save and Return to save your changes and return to the main inventory list. When you return to the inventory list, your last position in the list will be automatically saved, so you will not have to scroll back to where you last left off. You also have the option of going directly to the next object record in the inventory list by clicking the arrows in the results section. To return to the full inventory list without making any changes, click Results. To view or print a PDF report of the inventory, click the PDF button in the top right corner of Inventory Contents. Select the type of display you want the object list to appear as from the Download drop-down menu. Select either PDF or PDF checklist in the Format drop-down menu. Check or uncheck the boxes of any additional options you'd like to appear in your report. Click Download. To remove an object from an inventory list, click the X beside the object in the list. Then click Save to update your list. You can also remove an object from an inventory directly from the object record. Open the administrative page on the object record, then scroll down to the Inventory History field. Click the X beside the inventory name. Then click Save.
You can keep track of objects in your collection by using the storage locations in CollectiveAccess. Storage locations are recorded in a hierarchical format, which means you can define buildings, rooms within those buildings, and units within those rooms. The hierarchy can extend to be as detailed and/or deep as you need. For example, you could create a box on a shelf within a larger box. For example, you could create a location for a box within a larger box on a shelf. Let's take a look at the screens on a storage location record. Storage location records will have a basic info screen where you can assign a name to the location. For example, here, this would be the museum name. You can also include a description, as well as a location identifier. This is an alphanumeric code, as well as status. You'll also find a location screen, and this displays the location's position in the overall storage hierarchy. Click Show Hierarchy in the Location Hierarchy field to view more, and open the Explore, Move, and Add tabs. You'll also find a Contents screen, and this will list all of the objects associated with that location. Please note that this does not display objects associated with this location's subunits. So for example, if within my museum there is room A, any objects that I've assigned to room A will not show under my museum. But if I select on the content screen of room A, all of those objects will show. You can add objects to this storage location by selecting the Add Relationship tab here, and that will associate that record with this storage location. There's also the Alternate Names screen. Here you can assign an alternate name to the location, as well as the Summary and Log screen. To add a new storage location, go to the Local Navigation bar, New, Storage Location. Browse to where you'd like to add the new location by clicking through the hierarchy or by searching for the parent location in the search field right here. For me, I'd like to add another room to my museum, so I'll click the circle right here beside my museum to select it, and then at the top of my screen it says Add under Storage Locations, My Museum, New, and then I have a drop-down menu to select either a new building, room, or unit. I'd like to add another room, and then I'll click the plus sign. Now we'll fill out these fields and click Save. Now if I'd like to add a shelf to Gallery A, I can click back to the results, or let's go to Find Storage Locations, and I can either search Gallery A, and that'll show me the location I'm looking for, or I can go back to Storage Locations, My Museum, click the arrow, Gallery A, click the circle to select it, and then at the top it says Add under Storage Locations, My Museum, Gallery A. We'll add to the hierarchy a new unit. I could keep adding to the shelf. Maybe I want to add boxes, or if I wanted to add another shelf to Gallery A, I can always go back by just clicking this arrow again. Now I have Gallery A selected, and I'll add another unit. And now my hierarchy is starting to build up. Another way to add storage locations is from the location in hierarchy. We'll need to navigate to the location for the parent location, and then open the location screen. So let's say for this next example that I want to add a box to shelf 1. I've navigated to the record for shelf 1. I've gone to the location screen, show hierarchy, and then I'll go to add. Now I'm going to add another unit underneath shelf 1. So you'll see that this is becoming the child of the parent record, which is shelf 1. And I'll click plus. Now I can call this maybe box 1. Now we'll see that this has added to the hierarchy. You can also create storage locations from an object record. On an object record on the basic info page, navigate down to the related storage locations field. Then type into this field the name of a new location. Since this location doesn't already exist, I'm going to select create box 2 ? And now I have a new screen to create this location. This is going to be a unit, so I'm selecting that from the drop-down menu, and then I'm going to add it to where I'd like it to be in the hierarchy. So once again, I'm going to find my museum, Gallery A, shelf 1, and I'm just going to call this B2. Now you'll see that the hierarchy is listed in this field. I can also change whether this is permanently located at or is located at. So I might want to change this field to is located at if this object is on display in a room, where I might choose is permanently located at for a permanent exhibit or for permanent storage. Remember to click save. To move a storage location, open the record for the location you want to move. Go to the location screen. And then in the location and hierarchy field, click show hierarchy, and then move. Navigate through the location and hierarchy by clicking the arrows, or search for the location you want to move the current location under. I'm going to move box 1 to shelf 2 within Gallery A. So I'll click on shelf 2. It should bold the text, and then I should also see in red text up above, will be moved under shelf 2 after next save. Then I'll click save, and the move is complete. Thank you so much for watching our Collective Access tutorials. For more detailed information, please check out the manual linked below and on our website. This is updated regularly and is an excellent resource available in both English and French. Until next time.